What's up, guys? Welcome to this episode of Pitching the Content, episode 13. It's been about a year since we podcasted, but we're back at it. We're here specifically to introduce our new coach, Mr. Ben Gardner. How are you feeling today, Coach?
I'm feeling good. A little nervous, to be honest. First podcast.
Don't be nervous. You're going to be all right. We got you. I'm also here with Coach King.
What's up?
Coach King is coming off of a very successful cross-country season.
Oh, yeah. Dubs only.
Dubs on dubs.
Undefeated, never lost.
Really? Coach Mead.
What's good?
How we feeling, man?
Feeling good.
Good to see you. Glad to be back on the mic with you, man.
Back on the mic.
Laying down some bars. Coaching bars. Not really. Yeah.
Declaring thumb wars.
You guys are crazy. All right. So last year, guys, when we started doing our podcast, we had to introduce Coach Mead when he first got here, and it was a really good opportunity to learn about where he came from, where his baseball experience came from, and really where what he brings to the table and all those things. So I thought it was a great opportunity to get to know your coach. And we did the same thing with Coach Snars, being a brand new coach to the program when it comes to being a head coach. And I think the guys who played for him really got to know him, what he brings to the table, what his experience was. So we're going to do the same thing today, Coach. So hold on for it. Don't be nervous. We got you. We're going to walk you right on through it. It's just for the guys to get to know you a little bit better so that they, really, just know that you know your stuff. They need to hear it. And what we coach is, sometimes they need to. You can't just take our word for it. They got to get to know us a little bit better. And I think this is what we're doing this for. So to get started, Coach, let's get right out of the gate. We just want to talk about where you recently just came from. Where did you come from?
So I actually just moved to the Richmond area. I'm from Northern Virginia. It's my home. That's where I went to high school. And so I was recently teaching and coaching in Fairfax County. I was at Langley High School. And then I was teaching at Paul VI, big baseball powerhouse. There, coached there for 2 years, and then just finished at Langley and made my way over here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you were a paid coach there. Here in Chesterfield, they don't like to pay their coaches. So when you guys see Coach Gardner, really Coach Gardner, Coach King, and Coach Mead, we're talking about some volunteers here, fellas. We're talking about guys who give their time for free, who care about the game of baseball, and really care about you and developing the game. So remember that. Don't take that for granted, that these boys, these guys really want to do it for you. So, we'll get them paid one day. One of these days I'll go after that fight a little bit harder. Hopefully I'm not the one who has to go all the way. But, Coach, let's go a little bit growing up, getting into a little bit of your background. Let's go all the way back. When did you first start playing baseball?
Well, I'm a product of 7 siblings, and 3 of them are college baseball players.
Wow.
So baseball runs deep in my family, and it ties back to actually my mom's dad, who I never got to meet. My mom said he used to watch baseball on the TV and have headphones in listening to another game.
Wow.
So
that's intense.
Runs deep in the family.
Yeah.
So I've been playing ever since I think I was 4 years old.
Okay.
I was in some sort of baseball thing.
Didn't have a choice.
No.
Your brothers would beat your ass if you didn't play baseball. That's good. I love it. So you probably actually got a head start because your brothers are older, I'm assuming?
Exactly. And I was always, chasing their tails. My brothers were arguably, this is a hot topic in my family, arguably better athletes.
Yeah.
But it always had me something chasing and always motivated me to try to be just as good as them, even though they're 6 and 10 years older than me.
Yeah. So, well, hey, it all catches up when we get to be about this age when we're in our 30s.
I got the last laugh.
I was about to say, yours lasts a little bit longer as you're younger, so that's good. We have a love-hate relationship with travel ball in this program, as a lot of you guys have heard. We love it, but there's things about it we don't like. Coach King and I have gone way back. A lot of conversations about travel ball in our years together. A lot of podcasts about travel ball, but it's a big part of our who we are as baseball players and who we are as coaches these days. Did you have a travel ball experience?
When I was coming up through middle school and high school was when travel ball had just started really hitting that boom, and a lot of those big powerhouse programs were around. You heard Canes, they had a couple of teams. I was part of the Stars program, which was there was one Stars team all the way around at that point, and so I was on that team.
Okay, so you got the Stars. That's a pretty big program there in the Northern Virginia area.
Mm-hmm. And it was good. It was only one team at that time, and we had 14 Division I commits and a couple draft picks at that point. Mm-hmm. So it was a really well-rounded team, and they hadn't developed into that multi-team, multi-age level
right when the
thing
Stars first started, yeah. When I was at Longwood coaching, the Stars were legit. I mean, they were very good run. They had very good people running the organization. So you probably got to see the first, those people that started the organization. Mm-hmm. So that's good.
And at that point, travel ball was so new. There was a lot of coaching within it. It wasn't just that showcase baseball. Like I had a coach, Carson Carroll, who is a big baseball mind. He should be a college coach, but he chooses, he's got his baseball as his pleasure time. He did a ton of coaching actually within the game rather than just the physical skills of it, and helped develop us so that when we came into college, we were ready to hit that ground running. We weren't looking for instruction of how to play baseball at that college level. Which was
And travel
huge.
ball's really evolved, and showcase ball's evolved over the years to where when we were doing, Chris, when you were doing showcase and travel ball, it was starting to kind of morph into what it is now as like true showcase. Am I right in saying that?
Right. So I would describe my travel ball experience as kind of that first opening wave of just the straight up showcase. And it kind of led me out of it by the time I was like late junior, early senior year. Because I didn't feel like I was doing anything to get myself better. I still went to the camps. I did some of the showcase tournament stuff because you have to. But that was kind of the opening wave. I feel like that was when it all started, was when I was coming through.
Now, Parker, your experience is very similar to Coach King?
It's about half and half.
About half and half.
Yeah.
Now, how old are you guys, Coach King? How old are you?
I'm 26.
26?
27.
27. How old are you, Coach?
30.
30, the old man.
That's a dirty 30.
So it's all about the same time. I'm 39. I'm going to be 40 next month, but so I'm the oldest for sure. But no, I was able to witness that more time because really at that time, not
like 2012-ish was probably
See,
about
I
when it
was
started.
coaching college baseball from 9 to 12. So I got to kind of see the morph change because it really was more travel baseball before. It didn't really change into showcase baseball until after I was out of college coaching. It was starting to get there. It started to get its roots. The Stars, I remember the Stars always had a guy who worked the stands. And that was the first group that really had that. I'm not so sure it was Coach Carroll, but it was somebody that sounded really like that name sounded really familiar. But I remember just being there. And the Stars guy would come up and talk to me. So the Stars, they knew what they were doing early on. They got a head start on everybody when it came to showcasing. So it sounds like you had a good experience there.
I really enjoyed it, at least for the experience that I had. Now, also, no, I know I'm skipping ahead, but in my coaching career, early when I was a coach out of college, and during college, I also coached within the Stars program.
Okay.
And I got to see that difference where now there's those different multi-level teams. There's 5 teams at one age level, and it turns into that powerhouse, that program of all these different tiers. And so I got to see from the playing to coaching how it changed from travel baseball to that showcase baseball that you're talking about.
Yeah. So challenging to kind of bridge that gap. It's tough to, as a high school coach, it's tough to watch that showcase and stuff. It really is because it's just not baseball. Pure baseball, good baseball. So, so you had a little travel ball. When you got into high school, what was your high school experience? Did you play a little JV? Did y'all didn't have 8th grade? Did you have middle school baseball?
We did not have middle school
Okay.
baseball.
Did you have 8th graders playing JV? Okay. So that's a unique thing. Just so y'all know, 8th graders playing JV level baseball is very unique to Chesterfield County. Very unique thing. So you guys are lucky that 8th graders or those of you who have played 8th grade baseball, that you got the experience because it's not a thing in other places. So you came in as a freshman. Tell me about your high school baseball experience starting as a freshman.
Let me tell you, it was intimidating. So I came into a program at Paul VI is where I went to high school.
Oh, you're one of those, huh?
I am, yeah.
Man,
I went to Lake
good
Braddock.
baseball there,
and
guys.
They have a good
Very
baseball
good
program.
baseball.
And when I came in as a freshman, they had 10 Division I commits in that senior class. And it was a very, very intimidating place to be, especially as
What year was
young
that?
guy. That was in 2008.
Okay.
So they had, at that point, they were back-to-back state champions within that different division. And just a lot of talented guys. Georgia commits, a bunch of East Coast big-time Division
I
I
remember
commits.
that. I'm going to name drop. Do you know Paul Heidler?
Heidler, that sounds familiar.
You know Paul Heidler. He played with us over at Longwood for a little while. But you know Paul Heidler. He was right. I think he was a 20 – man, I don't remember the exact year, but it was right around that time. Right around that time. You'd know who he is. But you had a lot of dudes. A lot of dudes in that program.
A lot of guys. And I came in with a group. When my class graduated, we have 7 Division I commits. And so we had a great group of talent that we had kind of grown up together playing baseball and seeing that different level. Again, coming in as a freshman year. And it's a college-based program is really what it is. It's prepping all of the players to go into college ready to rock. And I wasn't there at that point. I played, you asked me about my experience, I played JV for the first 2 years. I got pulled up at the end of my JV season just to come sit and watch varsity and got to watch them win a state championship. And so I didn't make varsity until my my junior year, and that's really where I hit that next gear.
Yep.
Where I found my stride, found my motivation. I was surrounding myself with the right people.
Yeah.
And
You kind of knew that that's what you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Did you guys ever have a moment, Parker? Did you have a moment where you knew, hey, I'm going to be a college baseball player? Did you have a moment maybe in high school where you like it clicked?
I think it was more end of my junior year. I think is where it's just we went on a little bit of a run, and I got to step up in some big situations, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, Coach, did you have a moment where you're like, I'm going to be a college baseball player?
Truly, for me, I actually never really knew. Like, I mean, you know what the state of our program was at that time. I mean, we were a decent program, but I looked at all the people around us that were committing here, there, and everywhere, and it was just like, I don't know what, I don't know how to stack up. And it really wasn't until my senior fall when people started calling that I was like, okay, I actually have a chance to maybe do this. Like I always wanted to, but I just never really, I didn't know if it was going to happen.
Fall in place at the time.
Yeah.
Well, good, Coach. What was your primary position as a JV guy?
Well, I tried to pride myself as playing multiple positions.
Nice.
But I knew that I excelled in pitching, and I actually had an arm injury in my freshman year.
What'd you have?
So I had a growth plate rip off my bone thrown from center field to home plate.
Same.
Yep.
Represent. You got the scar. Did you get
Oh,
surgery?
yeah, right
Hell
there.
Yeah, man, we
Got that
matching
bone
scars.
sticking out,
matching
too.
scars, dude. How many screws you have?
Only one.
I got 2.
One
What's
big
up? Yeah. I was 14. How old were you?
14.
14. Guys, if you're 14, beware.
Watch out. Watch out for your elbows.
No pain, no pain.
But as you'll hear, that was just the beginning of a long list of, a relationship with injuries and training rooms and surgeries.
Yeah, it's baseball, man. It's baseball. You're gonna play hurt a little bit. There's a difference between being hurt and having injuries. Big difference. Well, good. So as you progressed to your junior year, you kind of said you started figuring out you belonged at that level as that prep. At that high school where that's what they did. What was your positional breakdown there? Were you still a two-way guy, or at what point did you become a pitching guy?
So I was primarily a pitcher, but I would play outfield as well. I tried to say I was a good hitter. I was a batting practice hitter.
I was waiting for this.
Yeah,
when's the pitching coach going to say he was a great hitter in high school?
I will not claim that I was a great hitter. I wasn't. I gave a lot of effort to it, but I was a good batting practice hitter. I could put one out the park, but in the game, it looked bad.
Nice.
But I knew my place. I knew that pitching was the craft I was going to be successful in. It's what I could contribute to the team.
Yep.
And occasionally, late inning, if they needed me to go in the outfield just to have an arm out there in a tight situation, I'd go there. But primarily, just pitching from junior on.
Okay, cool. What was your what were the coaches like?
Let me tell you, I came from a program that was old school, and they ran it. It was strict. It was hard-nosed baseball, gritty. We're going to get wins. Everyone's going to contribute, and everyone's on one mission. And if you're not, you were falling by the wayside. And that's just how it was. And
I like that.
Everybody bought in, and it was something special.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Coach, I got a question for you real quick. So that was kind of the beginning days of POs in especially in high school. I mean, even in college a little bit, but especially in high school, that was kind of, you were on probably the front wave of that. Mm-hmm. Did you have more of like a traditional PO type of experience your junior, senior year of high school, or was it just kind of your, more so like multi-position, more like a position pitcher or something like that?
Well, I would say I was a position pitcher. Like in practices, I was always, I was in BP groups. I was working on outfield stuff. I was still competing for those spots. I was just surrounded by, for lack of a better term, guys who were better than me and deserved it. And I still worked to try to take their spots, but we never had designated, POs, right? We all had our moments. We all had our places where opportunities to be able to step up. And if you took that position, you took that position. And so I was a PO more or less because the talent and, the work ethic around me was probably a little bit better at that time.
Right. So you pretty much, you were a primary pitcher, but you weren't necessarily a PO.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Well, that's kind of a, like you said, it's a new thing.
It's a refreshing change.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm thinking Liam Stewart right now in my mind.
Right.
Kind of a guy who's got a chance to maybe
he's going to primarily pitch.
And hopefully, actually, in our world, he's going to get some reps. Mm-hmm. He's going to get some reps out there in the outfield. So he's still got to go earn them, but that's kind of where I see that. But, so at what point did you start getting some looks, Coach? Everybody talks about looks, and we got to define looks here, fellas. We're not talking camp invites. We're talking college coaches calling your house and saying, hey, trying to sell themselves to you. At what point did you start getting some looks, Coach? Ones.
I think that was around my junior year. I had a great year, pitched for varsity, and I made first team all conference.
Nice.
And came out of my shell. And from that opportunity, I was still doing camps, I was still doing teams, but I really wasn't getting any looks until that point. And I was getting the letters in the mail, I was getting the emails and things like that, invites to camps, but the serious stuff didn't come until my junior year, especially that summer after my junior year, and that's really when it all kind of kicked into gear, and I started seeing a lot more communication with me, direct contact and stuff like that.
And what were they seeing? What were they impressed? What were they wowed by about you, Coach?
No, really, and I think most of my coaches, or if not all my coaches, say this about me, is I was just doing everything to the best of my abilities, and that was something they noticed. My talent was one thing, something I developed, but they watched how I would warm up. They watched how I would commit to things in the game. They watched how I would work with my teammates, the energy that I brought. And that was one of the first things that one of the first colleges that reached out to me, which was James Madison, which is where I played. They said, we notice how you are with your team. And that was something that's one of the most proud comments I've ever had, because that was something that I knew I could get effort to. When I was smaller, didn't have as much talent, didn't have as much really work ethic. Right? It was something that I could get better at. And so that was something that I noticed early.
Good. Well, that's one of the things that we love to see. And I think the word that you use, I'm not sure if you used it or not, but we'll go back and listen. But the word that I came up with while you're saying that was you had intent. You were intentional about the things that you did. And I think that guys, we know if where our ceiling is ability-wise. A lot of times, you could push through that a little bit. You can push past your abilities, and you have that intent of I'm going to outwork people. And don't just say it. You do it. It's intentional. It's what you do, and I think that's a good testament of what a good college baseball player ends up being, because the most talented guys are going to go play, but there's guys out there who have intent and show it, and you can't disguise, you can't hide it. It's there, and college coaches see that. So if you see a guy, and the guy that comes to mind in our program is Chase Thomas. He's got intent. When he's at his best, he's intentional about what he does, and somebody's going to see that, just like they saw that in you, Coach. And Chase Thomas is going to get a chance somewhere. So if you guys get an opportunity to pick Coach's brain here about what that looked like, think about Chase too. Think about how Chase approaches the game at practice and how he approaches the game in the weight room. You young guys need to see that and know that, hey, that's your ticket sometimes. That's how you punch your ticket to play college baseball. Anybody got anything to add on intent? I love that word. I might put that on something, on a piece of paper or something that we give to the guys. Intent.
I think it's just not going through the motions.
Yeah.
Like, we're all going to have that day, where you come out to practice and you're just not feeling it, whatever, and
but it's
baseball. You kind of go through the motion, whatever, for that day. Baseball. But if you're going through the motion every single day and you're not putting what you should be putting into
visible. It's visible.
Yeah.
You can see it. It's you can't hide it. You can't hide your intent. You know what your intent is when you come out to the ballpark that day, whether you're a starting pitcher, reliever, or you're just showing up to practice to cheer your team on. There's some intent there. Coach, you got anything to add to that? I know you do. You got that cerebral look.
I did hear a quote one time that intentionality is the inability to drag ass.
I love it. Let's put that on a T-shirt.
I love that.
Let's
that
go.
Was so cerebral.
Write that down.
It was cerebral, but I don't know where I heard that from. I wish I could give that person credit.
Damn,
but
T-shirt.
Intentionality is the inability to drag ass, and basically it means what I mean by that is there's going to be days where you feel like you're dragging ass and you just aren't able to do it. It's not that you're necessarily even choosing to do it or choosing not to do it. You just got something deep within you that's just like, that's not how this is supposed to be. That's not how this works. That's not how it's going to be today.
Yeah, you have a choice every day, guys. And if we have to coach effort, we're not going to do that. We're not coaching effort. We shouldn't have to. This is high school baseball. This is next level. So, Coach, you had that. That's awesome. That's the it factor, fellas. Some people have talent. Some people have the it factor. And it sounds like, Coach, you had the it factor. Am I right? Say that. You can little humble brag right here. Come on.
I don't know if I had the it factor, but I had the want to have the it factor. So
that's good enough. That'll get done 9 times out of 10. I love it. So you start getting that look. You got looks from who else did you possibly get some looks for? Some offers that were thrown out. Any other schools you want to throw out that were kind of on your tail?
Some of the big ones. Obviously, I went to JMU, and that was the one I always wanted to go to. My brother played there, and I idolized him and was always chasing his tail. So JMU is where I chose to go. Looking at Central Florida, talked to the Wake Forest coach for a little bit. Nice. The local ones in Northern Virginia, so Radford, Georgia George Mason, things like that.
Yep, they're on you. Good. Well, that's the type of that type of player. It sounds like that's kind of where you got. So you end up at JMU. Who's the coach there at the time?
At that time, it was Spanky McFarland.
Spanky.
Yeah.
Y'all know much about Spanky. Do y'all know much about Spanky?
Spank was before our time.
Okay,
but
yeah. I played against Spanky. Was crazy, just like Coach Bowling. So a lot of the same stories that I got with Coach Bowling. People who played for Spanky got a couple of Coach McFarland stories. He's a good dude though, really good guy. I liked him a lot. So you played at the old field at JMU.
No, we had just gotten the new Memorial Stadium.
Man,
oh yeah,
you could play them when it was fresh.
Mm-hmm.
All those purple seats.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Beautiful. Well, good. So you end up at JMU. Tell us a little bit about your time there. You were there 3 years, 4 years.
So I was actually there 5 years. Yeah,
better part of a decade.
No, that me talking about that injury list.
Yeah.
With
So
the
you
red
had
shirt
a
and
couple
stuff
red
like
shirts.
that. Oh,
Good. So tell me about your time. How did you progress as a ball player, as a college ball player?
It was really interesting actually because our freshman year we came in and I had that same mentality as I did in high school, where I thought, I'm going into a college program. This is Division I baseball. I've never played this before, and I felt like that, that little weakling, that young little freshman boy.
Yep.
But the class that I came in with, they are people who you want to surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
One guy is one of my best friends to this day, and he still pushes me in all aspects of my life. And I remember sitting down with him, and we roomed together, and I was like, what's your goal for this year? And he was like, I want to pitch 20 innings. He was a left-handed pitcher. And I was like, I think that's good. Freshman year, 20 innings. We hit 20 innings by the third week.
Oh, damn.
And like together.
Yeah.
And by the end of that season, he had pitched 60 and I had pitched 40. And we were just baffled. And that's one of the things that I learned, that at the college level, everybody's a college baseball player. Everybody's got the opportunity. They're going with who's going to put out, who's going to bring all the energy, who's going to be the one that's going to perform. And it was a wake-up call for me where I don't have to be the freshman.
Yep.
I can be somebody who can contribute from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. And that's the way it should be. A lot of guys these days get into college rosters, and they're just happy to be on a roster. And those are the guys who usually one and done, who can't be content developing and growing on a bench. But really, at the end of the day, when they have a plan for you, when you're that guy, you're not just a guy, you're that guy. You go out there and you play. You take some lumps too. I bet you learned a thing or two that freshman year.
Oh yeah, I've given up the biggest home run you've ever seen.
Yeah, and really think about it. You're 18. Those other guys are in their 20s. I mean, they're in their early 20s that you're facing up against, and they've been around a high-level baseball for 2-3 years sometimes. And you're up there, a little puppy dog who's striking out 15, 16-year-olds last year. You're facing some guys who are draft prospects, and you're facing some high-level competition, and you get thrown the wolves. Mm-hmm. And you take your lumps, but I bet you learn something.
Mm-hmm. And the ego gets wiped once you have that college lifestyle. I'm sure all the other coaches in this room, when they were college baseball players, they know that,
check it at the door.
It's as soon as you get on campus, they are yours.
Oh yeah.
Or you are theirs.
You're there. You belong.
And you are doing the grind. You got the workouts. You got the schedule. You got the practices. And if you want it, you're going to be there. And if you don't, it's a tough lifestyle to stay a part of.
So you said 40 innings in your freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, tell me about your sophomore, going into your junior. You just progressed like you should. How many?
This is where
the injuries come in.
This is where those injuries come in. So I finished my freshman year and my redshirt senior year, the only ones that I actually finished. My sophomore year, I had a shoulder impingement. And we can talk about different throwing programs and things that led to those things.
We will.
And then I rehabbed, and I was able to come back for the little last bit of the season. And then the next year, I was one of the team's top pitchers, top relievers, and that was kind of a good role for me. Mm-hmm. But I ended up fishing a start against top-ranked #1 UVA.
Oh, damn.
And I took a 110-mile-an-hour comebacker off the wrist, shattered my wrist.
Oh, no.
Ended that season.
Damn.
And then the next year, hurt my back.
Jeez.
And so that was my redshirt year, and then I finally get one healthy year as my last year, and that's when it all clicked.
Okay, good. So that was what your true senior year, fourth year?
Fifth year.
So but it was your fourth year eligibility?
Yeah, fourth year eligibility.
So your redshirt. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So tell me, the guys are going to want to know this. I don't really like this too much, but they're going to want to know, what was your velocity like there that last year when it clicked? What did you top out at? Well, not top out. What would you sit at, Coach?
How did I know this was going to come up?
Well, that's not, like I said, not bragging. They would need to know this stuff.
In an honest way, I would sit at the end of my career 89 to 92 and top 94. And the 94 was on my last game. We were down by 10. My coach, I told the guys when they came in and pulled me from the pen, I said, boys, we going to let loose.
Reaching back one time. I love it.
And it went about 5 feet over the strike zone.
As it usually does. All that velocity stuff. Yeah, you guys know I'm not a big fan, but I bet you, it wasn't about the velocity.
No.
It was about pitching. It was about knowing how to pitch, knowing how to get guys out at that level too, which is tough. What about that? Talk about your best pitch. Talk about the things that made you successful. It wasn't the velocity. It was very average if you think about it. 89 and 92 at that level. That's normal. Mm-hmm. But what was it that made you stand out? What was the thing that helped you be successful?
I think, again, the first thing that happened is I surrounded myself with guys who were bulldogs. Mm-hmm. And we were the best of friends, but as soon as we stepped onto that field, we are gunning for each other's spots. And it made us both better, or all of us better. And so I think that bulldog mentality where I wanted to be the best on the field and at the same time help my program become better, that was the first thing, is that mentality and the attitude. The other thing was getting away from all that mechanical stuff. Like, I had good mechanics. I had smooth, smooth rhythm. I had, confidence. But it really just came down to understanding the art of pitching rather than the science of pitching. Mm-hmm. That's kind of, I feel like pitching has to have a balance between science and art.
Yep.
And I think that was one thing that changed, especially that last year where I had a pitching coach. New coaches came in my last year. And they changed my whole mentality. Eikenberry and coach, the current pitching coach now, Jimmy Jackson, mm-hmm. was a tremendous pitching coach. And he taught me a lot of things about how to let your pitchers ride. Mm-hmm. He said, I would always be that guy. Like, what am I doing wrong? What was this pitch? What happened there? And he would always tell me, you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You don't need me. He goes, that's not why we're here. And he let me build trust back in myself that I had the ability. I just needed to learn how to apply that to pitching. Mm-hmm. So learning what my best pitches are, learning what are these hitters doing, how to mix those calls, mixing looks, all these different things that made me more successful. And that's where I saw that huge jump. And man, I wish I had it earlier because it was a total different version of myself that I'd never seen.
Yeah, and that's really what we're trying to rush deliver to you guys in our program, is we're trying to rush deliver that mentality. We're trying to get you to learn how to change your looks and your time sets. We're trying to get you faster to the plate, work on a good pickoff move. All the little things that you can do as a pitcher to keep the other team on the defensive when they're on offense. There's a technique to that. And that's what we're trying to, like I said, rush deliver to you guys. There's a sense of urgency about learning. It's not about velocity. It's about learning how to pitch. And it's not just about throwing strikes. It's not just about that. It's not about throwing different pitches. It's about knowing how and what situations and what's going on, knowing the game. And that's what we're trying to get to you guys. I think, Coach, having you on board is going to lay in, it's a rush delivery. You're going to get it. You're here. So it's time to make it happen.
Well, it's game management too, right? I mean, a lot of times you hear about game management with quarterbacks, and it's kind of a negative type of thing. But as the pitcher, you're one of the you are play doesn't start until you throw the ball, right? And you can manage the game in a lot of ways, like with your looks, with your time sets, with your picks, with what pitches you throw, with all of it, right? And it can be a really good tool to be able to be kind of a game manager on the mound. Like when you've got a pitcher with a brain, it's over.
Yeah,
it's over.
Yeah. And Parker, you feeling the same way? What you got?
Yeah, I mean, what I got from you out of that was you can't always be focused on what you're doing wrong all the time, but focus on what you're doing right. Like, take the stuff that you know that you're doing right and just roll with it. Because we're here, obviously, to help you with the things that aren't going so well, and that's our job. Let us help you with the things that aren't going so well, but roll with the things that are.
Yeah.
And that's going to make you a better player. Roll with the things.
I agree. So you wrap up that last year. You're kicking butt. You finally learned how to pitch. You stayed healthy enough to finish the season. You got a little time at the next level, didn't you?
Oh, little. 7 days.
7 days. 7 days more than most people. It's more than me. More than Coach King. More than you, Park.
More than all three combined.
All of us combined, man. 7 days, full week. So you literally had a cup of coffee, huh?
Yeah.
Good. Tell us about your cup of coffee. Tell us about it. It's a big deal, though. It really is.
Yeah, it was a cool cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. basically how it had happened is I'd finished that season and I did really well. And I had never had aspirations to be a professional baseball player. I'm a team guy. I want to work towards championships and things like that. And the next level wasn't something I wanted to be a good college baseball player.
Yep.
And I was good with that. And I finished that season strong. And I was like, that's a good place for me to leave my career. I'm ready to start coaching. And I was getting ready to go back to grad school. And I'm sitting at lunch with my mom, and my coach calls me. He goes, "Hey." I was like, "What's up, coach?" I was like, "You're not even my coach anymore. What do you want?" And he goes,
"Always your coach. He'll always be your coach."
Exactly. And he said, "In about 2 minutes, you're about to get a call from the Los Angeles Angels, and you're going to have to make a decision and be on a flight tomorrow."
Wow.
And I said, I almost hung up. I was laughing at him. And 2 minutes later, I got a call, and I came back. And I was like, I got to talk to my mother first. And I dropped the news to my mom, and she started crying. And she looked at me, and we both knew that that's an opportunity that you can't say no to after all the time that you put in. I didn't even want it. It was exciting, but I wasn't sure if that was the avenue. I didn't see myself at that point doing it. But how do you say no to that?
You don't.
So
you don't say no.
Next day, I'm on a flight out, canceled grad school.
Hell yeah.
And I went out there, and I, again, felt like the little fish in the big pond. You know, I'm like, we went to their spring training facility out in Scottsdale, Arizona. You know, full professional baseball stadium. It's professionally built because that's where they do spring training at.
Yep.
And so you see the big league locker room, you see the names in there, and I see some of my teammates, and I know those names.
Yeah.
And actually, one of the guys next to me, I'm looking at him, I'm like, "That's C.J. Wilson. You know, you're his teammate. You're not his fan."
Don't get his autograph.
But it was cool. You know, it was a cool experience to be able to go out there. But pretty quickly, I realized it wasn't my kind of baseball.
Yeah.
You know, and professional baseball, I think it's okay to tell everybody that it's not for everybody. It's a business, and a lot of those people there, if you love baseball and you're committed to it and you want to work your way up, that's great. I have a lot of old college baseball teammates who they're still working at it, and I love that they still have that love for baseball like that. But it's just a different style of baseball. It can be very independent. I didn't feel like a team atmosphere, and that's what I crave. That's what I get out of baseball.
The team thing.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that. I was the same type. I needed a team. I was never good enough really to make it that level either. So, but kudos to you. Get there, man. You got the call.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's an experience most people can't say in baseball. It's a very, very small population of ball players who get that nod. So, congratulations, Coach.
Yeah. Thanks.
Did you have any? Obviously, once you were done there, you got into coaching. Sounds like.
Yeah, went straight into coaching. I went right back to my old high school coach.
Yep.
And I was like, I want to be part of your program. What I wanted to learn how to coach. What I knew is being a player is different than a coach. And I felt like I needed to start from square one and be back under a coach who I knew is going to teach me how to do it right.
Yeah.
And so that was a good place. So I went right back to my high school, coached under him, was able to be their pitching coach and kind of learn.
That's awesome you did that, because I did that. And so did this guy. And not because I'm anything special, but my high school coach was special. And I learned a lot from him, and really a lot of the stuff that I bring to the table for Clover Hill baseball came from him. So, coaches, it's a little bit different for us because I'm still here. But, I love to tap that experience that you learned from him, because it sounded like he knew what he was doing too, and bring it on over here to Clover Hill, because really that's what we're bringing, Coach. You got stuff coming from Powhatan, the good stuff that you said, and you continue to bring that over here.
My coach is gone now, so.
But he left a big impression on a lot of people because he was that good. So you got that experience too. So it's really exciting to have that mix of the background. Was there a coach in your lifetime that really was the man that really just, that made you a better man, a better person, better baseball guy? Who's the guy?
This is where it's going to get interesting. I knew this was going to be a hot take coming into this room.
Let's go.
It was actually a guy who I worked out of his training facility. His name's Craig Pippin.
Okay.
He works in Pitcher's Edge in Northern Virginia.
Okay.
And he's a guy who, he took me after all the times that I would say I left him, and he would bring me back and put me back together. A lot of the injuries, I would try these different programs. I would try everything I could do to get the next inch, right? I was the guy that wanted to do that. But it led to a lot of those injuries. And I would always come back to him, and he'd preach to me mechanics, smoothness, everyth's within your body. And he would get me balanced. He would get my mentality right. And he was just this calm presence that I would be able to bring on the mound with me. And that last year I was a closer, And he basically developed me to have that mentality to be a good closer, where even though things are going crazy and the game's on the line, just calm as a cucumber out there. And
that's awesome.
So he was a big part of my development, and what that is a testament to is him, because what he would do was he would work with my high school and college baseball coaches.
Wonderful.
You know, he would communicate, he would send videos, they would talk to each other, and they worked as a team together, and that, you know, really benefited me, so I wasn't put in a position where I have to do a bunch of different things between coaches.
Awesome. I love that, man. That's really good. That's a great mentality to have, because we do face that battle here at Clover Hill. We talked about it already with a couple kids. And that experience, I mean, we always talk about experience being the best teacher. That experience taught you so much, and now we get that, guys. At Clover Hill High School, we get what Coach Gardner had because he had it. He's going to bring it to us. And that's the cool part, that you guys, the experience you guys are going to get is going to be so much better now that we have Coach Gardner on board. You guys had a pretty good one before he got here as far as our coaching staff goes, because we got some good dudes. Coach King, Coach Meade, Coach O'Hare, Coach Horner, when he can be here, he throws the best BP around. But you got, Wilkerson, he great coaches, and we just added one to the mix, which is going to be really cool. So we're going to all benefit from this. Now, Coach, we're going to wrap this thing up in the next 5 minutes or so. Baseball philosophy when it comes to pitching, not necessarily mechanics. How do we get guys out? High school level, go.
My philosophy is pretty simple. You attack, right? You come at all these hitters, right? It's high school baseball. You stay within the strike zone. Stay within yourself. You never get too high, never get too low, and you just keep coming at these hitters. They will either get themselves out, or you're going to put yourself in situations where you're going to get them out. And it's as simple as that. You stay aggressive while staying calm, and you just keep putting the buzzsaw on them.
Yep.
And that's it. I'm looking for bulldogs, and if we don't have them, we're going to make them.
Yep.
And I know I'm in a place where that's what we're looking for. I can see those eyes looking at me right now. We want the bulldogs.
Yes. I love thinking pitching is not necessarily considered offense. It is. Pitching is offense. We're on the offense on pitching. So I love that that's what they're going to be getting every day from you, Coach. I love it. Future, what are you thinking? One day you're going to be a head coach? What do you think? I'm putting you on the spot.
I live in the now. No, as a closer does. I live in the now. And right now, I'm looking forward to building these relationships with this coaching staff in this program. I'm looking to build the relationships with all the different facilities around and start forming those relationships to benefit everybody. And then we'll see where things go. But as of right now, I'm excited to just be a part of this coaching staff, because it's one of the reasons that I came. I've been asking around. I know some people. I know a lot of baseball players around here, and it's very, very well known that this is a well-coached program.
Yep, and we got some good people here. And I'll tell you guys, something else. We have in our staff, all of our guys are capable of being head coaches, all of them. Coach O'Hare's he's a better high school coach than me. Coach O'Hare is. He should be doing. He's not. He's a little bit broken. He's a little bit old, but he has a baseball mind like no other in the state of Virginia, and he should be the head coach of this program. He really should. He's one of our assistants. Coach King over here, head coach. He could have been head coach years ago. All right, Coach Meade, you're on your way. You're going to be there. Next job that pops up, you can go if you want. But the cool thing about that, Coach, is that these guys still want to be here. They want to be here, and they want to do it with us, with this program, which is really special, because we got guys that are head coach caliber coaches here at Clover Hill that are all working together. And guys, you're going to get so much better with this experience. You guys are going to get the benefits of this group of coaches that you guys have here, and I'm excited for it, Coach. Having you on board, phenomenal.
Oh, I'm pumped.
I'm pumped too. Coach, how you feeling?
I'm excited. I'm very excited. Number one, that I don't have to try to coach a position that I don't know about anymore. But number two, I am excited to kind of lock in on the catching stuff and work with you, Ben. To make our defense and offense. You know what I mean? Because that's deadly. Like if you've got a pitcher and catcher on the same page that are doing it and doing it well, it's hard to stop. It really is.
We got a battery team of coaches.
Battery Ram.
That's right, the battery. We need to make T-shirts for that too.
The battery?
The battery.
Yeah.
Coaching staff. Well, how about you, Coach? What do you got?
I'm excited just because I feel like this will be the first year that we actually have coaches for a specific spot.
Yep.
Which we kind of had last year, kind of didn't, but like this year, you have everybody that can just focus on one spot, and the guys are going to get so much out of that because now, Coach King can focus just on the catchers.
Yep.
and that's going to be good.
Well, and you've got somebody that's done it at every position too. It's not like it's not like I'm coaching shortstops when I haven't done that, or like it's somebody that has done it and done it well at every position.
It's a huge deal. That's awesome, guys. So, hey, let's get ready to wrap this thing. We're right around 40 minutes, which is long for us, but guys, it's kind of a big deal that we got a pitching coach. It's kind of a big deal, and a guy that's quality and who's committed to you guys and doesn't you're genuine when you said you're worried about this year. I feel it. He isn't not worried about next year. This year is the year that matters, and every year, that's what we need to keep in front of us is this year. Let's give, I always like to think about our seniors this year. Let's give these seniors that experience they deserve as a senior group. Let's send them out the right way. Let's give them some wins, and you guys have, you have us. So very excited about this, guys. Hey, we're here at the beginning of our preseason. We're going to sit down right after this podcast and talk a little preseason to implement to program for you guys, and you guys are going to get it. It's coming. You're getting the pitching programming. You're getting the the weight room program. We're getting the flexibility stuff going. Guys, you're getting some good stuff, and you're going to take it with you, and you're going to be better, not just baseball players, better people for it. And if you do get the opportunity to play college baseball next level, you're going to be ready. You're going to have an experience that has you ready for the next level. So, Coach, thank you again for jumping on board with you here at Clover Hill High School.
First time podcast, man. There we go.
Might have to throw down a couple more once we get this preseason programming done. Might have to talk them through it a little bit. So maybe we'll have to throw down again. Coach, any last words? Coach Meade?
Nope.
You're good? Coach King?
Yep. I think we're good.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening, and hopefully next time you'll get a little bit more about our preseason, and we'll keep it going. Keep working hard. We'd love to see you out here. Very proud of you guys. You all are doing a great job. Keep it up.